अम, सभी को नमस्ते। तो आज दूसरा दिन है समयफला सूत्र दीघ निकाय की द्वितीय सूत्र है। तो एक बार हम आज का सेक्शन करने से पहले एक छोटा सा रिकैप कर लेते हैं कि कल हमने क्या सीखा। So yesterday we learned about the reason for king's inner turmoil, and he is looking for answers. So finally, with the support of Jivak, king arrives at Jivak Ambavan, where the Lord is dwelling with 1250 monks. After paying After paying homage to the Lord and the Bhikkhu Sangha, king sat down to one side and said, Bhante, I have a certain question to ask. And the Lord responds, ask whatever you wish to, great king. कल हमने यहाँ तक किया था. I stopped here. So today we are on the phase two. Basically, the king is going to ask. Actual learning starts from here. The questions about the fruits of ascetic life. तो हम आगे देखते हैं कि what is the question with what are the questions which king has and how the Lord is going to answer these questions. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to read the sutta first. Venerable Sir, there are various crafts such as elephants, trainers, horse trainers, charioteers, archers, accountants, and so on and so forth. Practice these crafts, enjoy visible fruits of their crafts, obtain happiness and joy, and give happiness and joy to their parents, wives, children, friends, colleagues, so on and so forth. So this is very interesting. I think we all can relate to these professions. And King had asked this because these are the professions which are there in King's Ajat Satru's mind. And if we can relate to it in today's modern day, each of us can relate with our profession, like doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineer, businessman, or industrialists, so on and so forth. They all work hard and earn their living, and they enjoy the work what they are doing. It's very important. It mentions they enjoy the work they are doing, so they can feed themselves and feed their family, and by doing so they are happy and they give joy and happiness, and basically they're doing something which is very good, which is economically productive, and they make offerings, and all these are actually good deeds, so they are reborn in a good realm. So I'll read this. They make dana conducive conducing to a heavenly rebirth. Is it possible to point out any fruit of reclusion that is similarly visible here and now? So, as a lay person, it is very good that they are earning their livelihood and practicing generosity, and which is good, and they can see the fruits here and now. So now the king is asking, what is so good about being a monk or a nun? कि आप लोग क्या करते हो? What benefit do you bring to your life and the people around you? Can you point out a visible fruit which is here and now? So let's see how the Buddha answers. Buddha is actually very skillfully is putting it across, turning the task over to the king. He asks, do you remember asking other recluses this question? Then Ajatsattu responds, I do remember. If isn't troublesome, please tell us how they answered. Here, even Buddha knew that the king had already met these teachers and he was not satisfied. So then the king responds, then speak, great king. The king responds, yesterday I gave a brief about the six teachers. I'm going to read from the Sutta and then we will see their doctrines. One time I approached Purana Kassab, Makkali Gosala, Ajita Kesakambali, Pakuda Kachayana, Sanjay Belataput, and Nigantanataput, exchanged greetings and courtesies with him, and sat down to one side. I then asked him if he could point out any fruit of reclusive visible here and now. When I had finished speaking, Purana Kassab, Makkali, so on and so forth, all the six teachers, said to me, Great King, thus, Venerable Sir, when I asked Purana Kassab about a visible fruit of reclusive, they explained to me their doctrines. So we will see what their doctrines are. So Purana Kassab, uh, his doctrine is amoralism or inefficacy of action. So he preached there is no evil, no merits. तुम झूठ भी बोलो, तुम चोरी भी कर लो, even if you kill anyone, there is no reward. There's no, so one does no evil, no outcome of evil. So there is no merit. So it is basically absence of precepts, which is really contrary to the Buddha's teachings. Ethics और morality की बिल्कुल यहाँ पर बात नहीं हो रही है. So it is denial of karma. Then the second person is Makkali Gosala. Makkali is his name and Gosala is his clan. So he believed in his philosophy is basically fatalism or determinism, which is centered around the concept of niyati. So it is like, according to him, everything is predestined. We are powerless. Suffering is predestined. There is no cause or condition or defilements of purification. Basically, purification is only through wandering in samsara. So even if there is no human effort, so he also didn't believe in the principle of karma. What is the difference between the first one and the second one is Purana Kassapa did not believe in any morality or ethics. This person says even if you follow the ethics, suffering is predestined. So one will definitely suffer. That's the difference between both of them. Then there is third is Ajita Kesakambala. He believed in the his doctrine is annihilation. Basically, this also person believe was denying the karma concept. With death, all is annihilated. Doctrine of annihilation, that is Natikavad, no result of karma, no good or bad deeds, not this world or next, no mother, father, or no ascetics or Brahmins who have realized everything is annihilated. So after death, the ashes will go to the ashes. So the body is made of these four elements. After it breaks, the ashes will go to ashes. The earth element will go with the earth element, water with the water, air with the air, and wind with the wind. Basically, he said there is no existence after death. So again, he did believe in the concept of karma. And this name came Kesa Kambali because he used to wear this head blanket. That was the practice, was known as a ascetic practice. So this person, Ajita Kesakambali, the first one did not believe in any ethics or morality. Second person said, even if one is following the ethics or morality, suffering is predestined and everything is predestined. We are helpless and there is no human effort at all. Third person did not believe in the ethics or concepts, neither in any cosmology. He said that there is nothing of that sort and there is no existence at all after death. So let's see what the fourth person has to say. That's Pakuda Kachayana. His doctrine was eternalism, Shashvatvad. So basically, seven things are permanent, which is what are the seven things? Earth, water, fire, air, pleasure, pain, and soul. तो मतलब ये तो permanent है. Even if you cut someone's head or if you stab with a knife, The knife just merely passes through the spot और कुछ नहीं होता है. It just goes through the space between the seven bodies. But soul is something which is permanent and it cannot be injured, or actually it cannot be injured or destroyed. So this is like again absence of अनिच्छा की बिल्कुल ही ये नहीं है. They believe in like this is permanent. So it's opposite of impermanence. The next one is Nigantanatapuk, Anekantavad, many side reality. So their philosophy is fourfold restraint, which is like to be endowed with cleansed by and suffused with the avoidance of all evil. So they took up to extreme austericism, which is different from Buddha's teaching. Buddha's is middle path. So they used to get into this mortification and शरीर को कष्ट देना, खाना नहीं खाना है, and all these things they took up to extreme. They were getting into the extreme. Then the last one is Sanjay Belataput. He was like very evasive. He never answered anything. I don't think so. I don't in this way or otherwise. So basically, the five teachers answered the king, but the sixth one did not give any answer at all. So the king had gone and met the six ascetics, thinking that they will answer something because they've been practicing it. So, what is so important or useful of being an ascetic? And they didn't give a clear answer. So, I'll read it out. What is the king answering the Buddha? Thus, venerable sir, when I asked Purana Kassap, Makkali Gosala, so on and so forth, about a about a visible fruit of recluseship, they explained to me their doctrines. Venerable sir, just as if one asked about a mango would speak about a breadfruit, or as if one asked about a breadfruit would speak about a mango. So basically, किसी ने इनको बराबर clearly जवाब नहीं दिया. He asked about what is the visible fruit of reclusion, and they spoke about why and how. And it is like if I'm talking about a man, if I'm asking about something, they are giving me some other answer. It is like mango would speak about a breadfruit, or a breadfruit would speak about a mango. Then, Venerable Sir, I thought to myself, one like myself should not think of troubling a recluse or Brahmin living in this realm. So I neither rejoiced in the statement of Purana Kasap, so on and so forth, nor did I reject it. But though I neither rejoiced in it nor rejected it, I still felt dissatisfied, yet did not utter a word of dissatisfaction. Without accepting his doctrine, without embracing it, I got up from my seat and left. So then the king answered the Buddha, saying that he was not very pleased with their answers. He was very dissatisfied, but out of sheer respect for the ascetics, he did not say anything. But here the interesting point is Buddha never criticizes or says anything about the doctrine. He actually left it up to the king to come to the conclusion. So now again, uh, after responding to the Buddha, again the king asks, Venerable Sir, so here we are going to go into first two visible fruits of reclusion. 16 fruits I spoke about it. So इसमें से today we will discuss the first two, which is the more to do with materialistic, and then the 14 will be the actual eightfold noble path of graduated path. So now the first two visible fruits of reclusion is to do with an example of slave and farmer. So, Venerable Sir, I asked the exalted one, same जैसा हमने मैंने अभी पढ़ा था, various crafts, elephants, and so on and so forth to do with the profession, and they make dana and they do good deeds, and they are to take rebirth, which is very conducive. So now the king is again asking, is it possible to point out any fruit of recluseship that is similarly visible here and now? So now Buddha responds. Buddha is using a materialistic argument to address a materialistic layperson. It is great king, but let me question you about this matter. Answer as you think fit. Buddha is not answering, he is actually very skillful. He makes the king counter question and gets the answer from the king. So this is the first visible fruit of recluseship. So I'll read it out. This whole passage is very enriching because it's like a dialogue. What do you think, great king? Suppose you have a slave who rises up before you, retires after you, does whatever you want, speaks politely to you, and is ever on the lookout to see that you're satisfied. The thought might occur to him, it is wonderful and marvelous, the destiny and result of meritorious deeds. So the slave does all the work for the king. He wakes up in the morning, he speaks politely, सब कुछ काम करते हैं, and then the slave thinks कि the king has done a very good karma. That's why he's reaping all these benefits. King is a human. Maybe तो I'm also a human. Yet he enjoys himself fully with the five strands of sense pleasure, as if he were a god, while I'm his slave. So why not I also do good deeds? So ever on the lookout to see that he is satisfied. I could be like him if I were to do a meritorious deed. So then the slave reflects that राजा ने बहुत अच्छे कर्म किए, that's why he's enjoying all the benefits. So मुझे भी अच्छा कर्म करना चाहिए so that I also make some meritorious deed. He reflects on it and the normal way, like he goes forth from lay life to homelessness. He dwells restrained in body, speech, and mind, content with the simplest food and shelter, delighting in solitude. Suppose now Buddha is asking, suppose your men were to report all this to you, would you say, bring that man back to me, let him again become my slave and do everything, so on and so forth? This is like basically in contrast with the other teachers. Here, Buddha gives a clear answer to the question what Ajatsattu is asking. So then the king says, no, definitely not. I will pay respect. I will pay homage to him. Rise up out of respect for him. Invite him to a seat and offer robes, arms, shelter and medicine, and provide him righteous protection, defense, and security. So it's very clear that even the slave believes in the principle of karma. The second thing is the Lord is saying in Dhamma, all are equal. It is universal. Up slave ho ya whoever you are, like you can renounce at any time. And even a king and a slave will sit next to each other and meditate. That is the benefit of renouncing it. Like, the king will respect the slave irrespective of what he was with the king. So that's a very interesting thing. And other thing, what I would want to point out is in those days during Buddha's time, all these people, this Brahmic tradition, there was a lot of caste system, lower caste and Brahmins and so forth. I think Buddha never believed in all this. We all know that, and he treated everybody equally. And if we go back and there are too many other two, three examples. You say Anguliman, he renounced it. Buddha's own charioteer Channa, he renounced it. तो धर्म में कोई भेदभाव नहीं है. So everybody is equal. So then Buddha asked, what do you think? If such is the case, is there or is there not a visible fruit of recluseship? Certainly, sir. So then Buddha says, see, you answered it. This is the first fruit of recluseship, which is visible here and now. Then again the king asks Buddha, is there another fruit of recluseship which is equally similar? Because the first two fruits of recluseship are similar. So, what do you think, great king? Suppose there is a farmer, a householder who pays taxes to maintain the royal revenue. This is different from the slave because the slave does not have any wealth or, there is no wealth or anything to renounce it. But the farmer, he's a worker, he's paying taxes. So, this is like of king's interest. The thought might occur to him, I could be like him if I were to do meritorious deed. After some time, he abandons his wealth. वहां पर wealth की बात नहीं हो रही थी. And goes forth from home to homelessness. So the farmer also reflects, I am a human. The king is also a human being. He has done a good karma. So he is reaping all the benefits. So let me also do good karma. So the thought comes and then he goes forth from home to homelessness. Then the Lord asks, would you bring that man back to me? So the king says, no, sir. I will pay homage and offer robes, arms, food, shelter, and medicine, and provide him righteous protection, defense, and security. Both of them, the bonded servants, the slave, and the farmer, they are no longer obliged to the king to pay respect to the king or obey the king or pay taxes. It is not that these two people are they're going forth from home to homelessness just to avoid taxes. I'm sure there is a higher purpose in life. That's the reason they're going forth because they're reflecting on it. So the first two visible fruits is very similar and it is materialistic. Here, uh, whether it's a farmer or whether it is a slave, the one who goes forth from home to homelessness, people respect them. So now, still the king asks, Venerable Sir, okay, I'll see. These are the first two visible fruits. What I was thinking is reflecting, like there are 16 fruits of recluseship. So it will be good, like if you all can also make a note of it, like what was the question and what is the answer or learning. First two visible fruits is very similar materialistic argument to address materialistic layperson. So here the learning is respect, gain respect for monks. So we can also reflect on other things like, where Dhamma is powerful and everybody is equal. And if we recall भगवान के काल में भी like even the देव लोग भी आते थे भगवान को नमन करने के लिए. So all the celestial beings used to come to visit the Buddha. People pay respect. So there is lot of me in becoming renouncing it. So now the we are moving to the more excellent fruits of reclusion. So this is the actual gradual training which is called as Anupubasik. So now the king asks, Sir, is it possible, Venerable Sir, to point out any other fruits of reclusion visible here and now that is more excellent and sublime than these two fruits? पहले वाले से, so every step, like when we are moving forward, it is like sublime and excellent than the previous one. So then, having seeing the genuine interest of the king, then Buddha says, okay, if you like to know, I will share the more excellent fruits of recluship. Then listen, great king, and attend carefully. Tathagata arises in the world, a worthy one, perfected, enlightened, arises in the world, a worthy one, perfectly enlightened. Samma Sambuddha की बात हो रही है. He teaches the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, middle, good in the middle, and good in the end. He reveals the holy life that is fully complete and purified. Householder hears the Dhamma and reflects. So when the householder reflects on it, And let's see, the household life is crowded, a path of dust. Going forth is like the open air. It is not easy for one dwelling at home to lead the perfectly complete, perfectly purified, holy life, bright as a polished conch. He comes to be endowed with wholesome bodily and verbal action. His livelihood is purified and he is possessed of moral discipline. So I think I'll stop here. So what it talks about it, the person who goes from lay person, from family to who renounces to the homeless life, it starts with the right view. Right view starts by having faith in the Tathagat and reflects that this life is crowded path of dust because there are a lot of defilements. So there is something or the other we are getting attached to it. So going forth is like open air. You're not obliged to anything. You're free. So you have a lot of time to meditate and reach the higher states. As far as when a householder's life, it is not that householder's life one cannot reach the higher states, but it will take some time. The compared to the monk, that's the only difference which is talking about it here. So dwelling to lead the perfectly complete, perfectly purified holy life, bright as a polished conch, he comes to be endowed with wholesome bodily and verbal action. His livelihood is purified and he is possessed of moral discipline. So tomorrow, I think, yeah, Thursday, we will discuss the moral discipline, which is like the shorter section, middle, and the larger section. So I'll stop here for now.
If there are questions, please ask. Otherwise, we will meditate. Since we can meditate, let's meditate up to 6:45. If you have question, kindly raise the virtual hand at around 6:40.
I have a small query.
Yes, sir.
These sects represented by these 6 ascetics,
Ji.
they certainly don't align very well with even the Vedic traditions. So these are quite outside. I mean, there is some alignment, but very, very little. So, I was wondering where do they come from, and they just like random. कोई भी किसी ने भी कुछ भी कह दिया kind of thing. Am I right in saying this, or is something I'm missing?
I think if Darsar is able to listen,
कोई बात नहीं, कोई बाद में कर लेंगे.
pardon, sir?
Let give opportunity for Geeta to answer. She will answer.
Yes, sir. You just be present so that you can also have some final say. Gita ji, kindly respond and other persons can answer.
Get the question what STG is asking. So can you please repeat?
हाँ नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था गीता जी कि ये जो 6 traditions, 6 views,
Teachers.
doctrines बताए 6 teachers ने,
हाँ.
I mean, my impression was that the doctrines prevalent at that time would be more aligned to what the Brahmins taught, which were basically the traditions based on the Vedas at that time.
That's right.
So, but ये जो 6 doctrines इन्होंने बताए, they don't seem to be really even aligned with the Vedas. And they seem to be totally out of the way, perhaps quite random in some sense. किसी का ये विश्वास है, किसी का वो विश्वास है. So is that
No, actually, the way I understand is they are also from the Brahminical Vedic tradition only. And they existed much before the Buddha's time also. And ये
तो
जो
मैं समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि
हाँ,
Vedas के साथ क्या कनेक्शन है इन डॉक्ट्रिन्स?
See, I think I'll answer that. They are not from Brahminic tradition. They are not from Vedic tradition. They are people who had revolted against Brahmanism and they had formed a different Shraman Parth. They are all Shramanas. They're all people. There are two basic traditions which there are. First was the Brahminical tradition, which believed in Brahma, and the whole idea was to experience the Brahman and all, and whatever Vedic and
They're
Vedanta.
rebelling against the Brahminic tradition
Yeah.
and
So
coming
they
up with their own views.
various aspects, but because of the problems which had appeared, especially with respect to caste system and the other kind of degenerations which had happened in the Brahminical order, many people revolted against it and they became independent people. So they became, they said, we'll find out the truth ourselves. So we don't accept the truths given in the Vedas. And then these people became wanderers. And Ajivikas were one of the prominent things. There was many of these were Ajivika, and then Ajivikas also had various belief systems. So the existence of Samanas were there much before Buddha. And because Mahavir himself was earlier to Buddha, and then there are many others who were earlier to them also. So that tradition of asceticism had already taken roots in India in the 6th, 7th century before Christ or so. I mean, roughly I can say that. But it is certainly pre-Buddhist practices of there existing thereof. Purification through various kinds of asceticism and also through contemplation on reality in various ways. So you have all kinds of stray philosophies. So people want to feel, for example, law of karma is still, even today, found very difficult to accept for the reasons of people see disparity in the society and say, if you say it is because of karma, it means you are justifying it. Now, that has been a very difficult thing to accept in society, even today. So as a result, you can see most of them would reject karma and develop their own theories.
Actually, it makes sense because the kind of doctrines they are propagating seem more like reactions to what is going on rather than any deep thinking by itself.
When you take, for example, you say there are 4 elements, that is all human body is, and when the 5 elements, then there is the Akash. So he says when a sword is used to kill a person, all that is happening is it is passing through the empty space. It is passing through Akash element. So what is the problem? So, that kind of logic is used to put aside all morality, because the morality is seen as a restriction on freedom. Even today, it is this true. So those who want to be free, they think, why should we have restrictions when we want to be free? So they take freedom in that sense. So you can always justify, logic and rationality can be used in variety of ways. And that's what happened during those periods also. And it happens even now, actually. It's not something which is confined to the past as if they were ignorant and they were not able to see. Same
You
thing.
look at the society and say it's all useless. Bekar hai sab. Right. So thank you. I got the answer.
Sir, how are they different from the Brahmajal Sutta jo kiya tha? And if they were there before the Buddha, did they ever?
The Brahmajal Sutta was given by the Buddha on the basis of the existing views, some of which you have read. They were classified into certain categories by him. So that is how the categorization is done. Some of them are put in Uchchedavad, fatal, the annihilationism. Others are put in Shashvatvad. others are put in fortuitous origination and fortuitousness, कोई कारण नहीं अपने आप हो जाता है. Then others are putting the conditions of flip-floppers. Now, flip-flop can be of anything. So Samaññaphala Sutta was one of them. And the people who follow these strong ascetic traditions and take it to extremes for the Jains and some other ascetics who would believe in purification through self-mortification. So there are different kind of examples, but since they are so diverse, Buddha categorized them into certain categories. Actually, when you say 62 views, they are actually 62 ways of understanding. Views are, in terms of overall views, they are much lesser in number, as I had mentioned when we took the Brahmajala Sutta. In each view, further, there is subdivision done accordingly.
So these people also had followers. So they must have come in contact with Buddha for
No, they did.
arguments and everything, right?
No. Some of them went, as we study in the sutta, some Ajivikas used to go and they used to live near Buddha and then they would have some interaction. Some of them would accept it, some would not accept it. For example, that famous sutta is there, Satchaka Sutta. Satchaka was one of the main disciples of, accordingly, Niganthanatha Sutta. So he went there to put down his all theories and ultimately he got put down. So in that faith, there are many things. There's that Prince Abhay who goes there again as a representative, according to Sutta, representative of Nagandhanath Sutta with the questions
Yes.
they can defeat Buddha. And in turn, he gets converted. So in this way, there are many examples in the suttas of people from different traditions going to challenge Buddha's teachings. But in the Tipitaka, they're shown as everywhere. They ultimately either they don't accept it and go away, like some of the people, the Dandapani and others, or they become his disciples. So
Okay.
that's how it is shown in Tipitaka.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Buddha, Professor, there's another curiosity is that all these other traditions which are being talked about here, there must have been some element of respectability to them. That is, at least there was considerable following for each of them. For example, we know about Jainism. It had a lot of followers, and even now they have a lot of followers.
Yes.
So, but
Jainism is something which comes very near to the Buddhist thought process, in terms of their following the basic morality, but they follow it to take it to the extreme. And therefore, that there are many people like in our society even today who would like to be absolutely non-violent, absolutely try to understand the things in a absolutely aparigraha, to the extent that you drop your clothes also. When you say aparigraha means you don't have आप कुछ भी नहीं रखते अपने पास. So they take it to the limit कि कपड़े भी नहीं रखने, ऐसे ही चलो, क्या करना पहन के. So this way, and there are still people who believe that's a very good way of, that way, they say a middle path जो है, it is kind of, trying to pamper ourselves to some extent. इस तरह के विचार भी हो सकते हैं ना, इसलिए वो काफी followers हैं. और उसमें जो अनेकांतवाद है वो काफी, it is a lot of acceptance even today. Why? Because it says there's nothing absolute. अनेकांतवाद में there are other things relative. The reality can be understood from different, अनेक वाद है, अनेक तरह से हम reality को देख सकते हैं. तो उसमें परमार्थ सत्य नाम की चीज कुछ नहीं है. जैसे कोई एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ नहीं होती, सब रिलेटिव होती हैं और अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव से आप उसको देख सकते हैं. और आजकल के परिप्रेक्ष्य में जब हम वी ट्राई टू अकोमोडेट एवरीबडी एंड से एवरीथिंग इज, वी आर ऑल, वी शुड बी ओपन एंड वी शुड बी kind of accepting others' views, this is seem to be a very good thing. तो भाई एब्सोल्यूट ट्रुथ कुछ नहीं है, सब कुछ रिलेटिव है, अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव है लोगों के, जैसे हम कहते हैं संज्ञा अलग अलग है, तो उनके अलग अलग पर्सपेक्टिव है, उसका भी वैलिड है, इसकी भी वैलिड है, इसकी भी वैलिड है. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द वे यू परसीव द रियलिटी. द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ blind man and elephant is used in Jain literature also to say that depending on the ability to see, people will come to different conclusion about same thing. And this is has quite a bit of following in the world today as a method of bringing in harmony in the society. कि भाई मैं ही सत्य हूँ, तुम सत्य नहीं हो, सभी सत्य हैं. That kind of. So these are some of things which have very big appeal even today.
ये किसका
Purification, appeal of having openness and flexibility of mind and so on.
ये कौन से डॉक्ट्रिन के साथ अलाइन कर रहे हैं? जैनिज्म को?
जी जी, जितनी मेरी समझ है मैं समझा रहा हूं.
इतना मैंने कभी इस तरह से देखा नहीं जैनिज्म को.
नहीं सर, ये लास्ट वाला आपने जैनिज्म को नहीं बोला ना, वो शायद किसी और के लिए आपने बोला ना.
Part of Jainism. It's the core
अच्छा.
teaching of that. Core teaching, which is very much appreciated today as a means of bringing in harmony in the society.
Obviously, that shows how little we know even about these doctrines, which you know. And the point I was really trying to make was that we should not go by just this description and this short description in this sutta as to what the deeper aspects of their thinking might have been.
Yes, very true. Yeah, these are only some things which those people were saying, and what has been recorded here is not necessarily the whole of it.
Right.
So in the sutta there is mentioned about Jainism fourfold restraint. Now it's not described what it is. So last night when we were discussing with Gita, I looked up and found out those fourfold restraints are the various fundamental teachings of being non-violence and truthfulness, non-stealing, and celibacy. So which is something as any good, morally strong person will teach. So they are all very well. They all match with what the teachings in the Buddha's Shila. They all are similar to that. The only thing is they take it to the extreme part. Ahimsa means complete ahimsa. And aparigraha means, trying to not have anything. Not even the four requisites as Buddha allowed.
Right, sir. Thank you very much. Makes sense.
इधर ही एक बार स्लाइड्स में वो जिसमें ये जो टीचर दिखाए गए थे उसमें सेकेंड लास्ट टीचर को दिखाएंगे, वो शायद रिलेटिविटी की बात वो भी कर रहे थे.
वही तो है, निगंधनाथ पुत्ता इज महावीर.
महावीर. I'll share this.
अच्छा, वो निगंधनाथ पुत्ता लिखा था उधर. ओके.
आपने क्या पढ़ा? मैंने क्या पढ़ा? निगंध.
पता नहीं, मुझे याद, मुझे वो प्रबुद्ध कच्चायन, उसके बाद मक्खली घोषाल, संजय बेकलीपुत्र.
I will share it. I'll show you this once.
Just check up.
What are the
स्पेलिंग में गलती तो नहीं होगी, हमने देखा ही ना हो.
सर बराबर ही किया था सर मैंने.
आपको मैंने भी देखा होगा.
I'm just sharing it.
I'm also lost, so I'm not sure.
No, till yesterday I was lost, not today. Okay, can you see? Did I say anything wrong in this?
No, it is written correct.
Okay, निगंधनाथ.
ब्रैकेट में महावीर भी लिखा हुआ है. It's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Actually, I have the sutta reference. जो when I was reading Bhikkhu Sujato's, इसमें बहुत सारे sutta का reference है. About these 6 teachers. SPG, if you would like it, I'll share this as a Word document. I have it. So maybe you can refer to the multiple suttas of these 6 teachers.
That will be good. Kindly do.
Yeah, I'll do that.